Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. I know I say it every time, but I really, truly am super excited for my guest tonight. She is an old-time college friend of mine who is now the founder and creator of Stork Support, which is it's a blow your mind kind of company. It's so freaking cool. She's an amazing writer, an amazing mama. I will make fun of her in a little bit for her Instagram beautiful family. Mama of two, Miss GinaRose Woitkun. Hello, my sweet friend.
Hello, Miss Jess. This is so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, I couldn't not have you. You're just like a quintessential mom. I just want to punch you in the face for being such a good mom. If you didn't live so far, I would.
I mean, and I would probably let you because that's just how we used to roll in college.
I really appreciate that. Speaking of how we used to roll, because I feel like it's important for people to understand just how fucked up we were in college as people, right? Yeah. I'm gonna give you a little quiz.
Yes. Go ahead.
Are you telling me I can't give you? I'm gonna give you a quiz anyway. So in college, you met your now fabulously handsome and lovely husband, Tim Woitkun. When you and Tim were having college drama, a friend of mine and I gave you a piece of advice. Do you remember what that advice was? And I'll wait.
I think I do remember what that piece of advice was.
What was it?
It was, are you sure you don't want to see what it's like being like a girl, maybe? I remember that.
You're a lesbian. We were like, you're so cute. Don't you want to join our team? We could use more cute lesbians. And you were like, no, guys, thank you so much, though. That's so nice. Thank you. Because you've always just been this very kind heart that you're like, no, I don't think so, but I really appreciate you asking.
I did.
I know.
It just made me feel really nice.
I'm glad we made you feel really nice. Speaking of college, we used to drink excessively together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess who doesn't in college, right? I
guess so.
Function that way, I think.
However, when I logged on this evening, did you tell me that you're doing a sober September?
I am doing a sober September.
Why?
I think it's a great question. Why?
Me too.
We announced this sober September yesterday in a story, and the amount of concerning DMs that I received is overwhelming. People were like, "Are you okay? Oh, you're pregnant again?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." But I am a mom of two. And at nighttime, after the kids are sleeping, that is usually when I say, I'm going to just have a little glass of wine. And then that turns into a bottle. And, it's just, I need to just clear it all out. So here I go. You can check in on me this weekend, and I probably will.
Well, I would also like to point out that your announcement of Sober September came about halfway through the month.
It did. So that pretty much shows you our commitment level.
Just fall to the carpet. Okay, my sweet friend, we are going to jump into the big mom three. First and foremost, did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
I think it's super cliche to say, but I did. And I'm an only child, so I think a lot of that I know you are.
You do? Did I know that about you? Probably. I probably did.
We wrote about it, and
I was so drunk. I have no idea.
I did. I sensed that I knew it. I always wanted to have a lot of kids. That quickly changed, but at the time it sounded like a great idea. And I mean, the journey, I wouldn't trade it in for the world. So I'm happy that I felt it early on and then executed that vision later on in life.
Vision. Do you think the want for many kids stems from being an only child? You wanted your kids to have siblings?
I did. I mean, listen, I loved being an only child. I was very independent. I never really complained about not having a sibling. I kind of just did my own thing. I was really creative. I always would find ways to just play alone. Of course, I had I had 2 first cousins that were like my sisters, and I was with them on the weekends. But during the week, it really, after school, it was when you were really little, right before you start to get that little friend group where you're those forced play dates. You you just kind of do your own thing. And my mom always said I was a very content child. But I've also had a lot of girlfriends in my life, and I still do. From when I was 5, and I think that also has a lot to do with being an only child too. You kind of
you're like a real girl's girl.
I definitely am. I definitely am a real girl's girl. Yeah, for sure. And I guess it holds true too when you meet those type of friends that are kind of like you. They don't go anywhere. And I've had friends for 30 years, and it's crazy. And I just, again, I guess thanks mom and dad for only having me, because it allowed me to be that type of person. But yeah, and then here we are, 2 kids later, and
give me the breakdown of your kids. I know the answer to this, but for everyone out there, who are your beautiful children?
So I have an almost 6-year-old boy named Wyatt. He was obviously our first, and then I have a 2.5-year-old daughter named Ophelia. So, good age difference between the 2 for sure. And I think I had one of each. So after that, I was like, you know what, I'm so blessed, and I'm good. And I feel like 2 is manageable, 1 for each parent. And I also work full time. So it worked out well for me. And believe me, if it ended up, being past the 2, I think I would have been super happy as well. But that wasn't in the cards for us. So we're here.
You're here. That's great. Awesome. Okay. Big mom question number 2.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it. You've been in like the baby industry for a long time, but I mean actually, I don't know, but whatever you've heard, doesn't matter. What is like the shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've received or heard from another mother or parent?
How much time do we have?
What time do you need, girl? Shout it. Go ahead.
I'll give you a personal sort of story here, and it's so embedded in me that I don't think I'll ever forget it. But I was a new mom. Wyatt was about 4 months old, and I've been in the baby industry now for about 6 years, a little more, about 6.5. And so I had a 6-week maternity leave, and I was back at work. And at that point, I was doing a lot of education and training. So I would actually go to stores and train them on the products that we were, of course, selling. So, and the company working in baby, the one great thing is they're super supportive of your home life. So there was a few times where I actually would bring Wyatt with me when I knew that he was going to be napping and content. And we had finished a training in the store, and someone had come up to me and they said, how old is your son? And I said, he's, 16 weeks, 4 months. And she said, oh my gosh, he's so content. And I said, yeah. And she said, how? And I said, he's just a pretty good baby. And she said, but he slept the whole hour that you were training. And I said, yeah. And I kind of knew where she was getting with it, but my whole thing was never give unsolicited advice and don't give people more. You kind of listen to what people have to say and adapt from there. So she said, does he nap like this all the time? And I said, yeah, he does. I said, I have him on a schedule actually, and it just works really well for us. And I'm able to time these things around that. And she said, oh, what method do you do? And there's this book out there called Baby Wise. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Definitely has some stigmas attached to it.
I don't read baby books, but yeah.
That's fine. Some people don't. I never did.
Yeah.
There's a book called Baby Wise. I think it was created in like the early 1990s. And it's like the authors are Gary Ezzo and a doctor. Anyway, so it gives you like a breakdown of how to schedule with your child. And so the second I said that book, she just looked at me like I basically told her I was gonna throw my kid out the window or something. And she just was crickets. And she said, oh, I've heard that's pretty aggressive and borderline child abuse. And I was like, I'm so taken back by the comment at that point. I didn't know whether to cry or to bark back. And I took the high road and I just said,
and I cried.
Pretty much. No, I just said to her, well, as you just mentioned 5 minutes at the start of this conversation, he seems pretty content and loved. So, but have a great day. And I kind of just wheeled right away. And I remember going home that day saying, like, the comment was so small, but it left such an impression on me. And I knew nothing about the negative stigma associated with this specific book. And what I did is I took that negative and I turned it into a positive. And I said, you know what, I'm going to educate myself on this. And I want to learn about both sides and what people think, not just about this book, but just about the art of scheduling a baby and, what goes into it, and just make sure that I'm prepared and educated on everything. And I want to be able to educate others. And that's really, almost 7 years later. And it's actually one of the services that we offer. It's strictly unbiased education. So I want parents to feel comfortable that, if they're curious about something, that they can ask the questions and someone will give them unbiased feedback that's not going to sway them, and be able to set them up to make their own decisions at the end of the day. And so again, that was kind of my one thing that just always
one. That's a big thing. That's like that. You can't forget that when somebody's like, well, that's borderline child abuse. And you're like, oh, but I applaud you for taking the high road. I don't think I would have. Big mom question number 3. What is, and if the answer to this isn't like wild patience and kindness, I don't know what your answer is going to be, but what is one special skill or superpower that you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
I think the ability to negotiate. So no, I'm not an attorney. So if you are, you have a total, just step up in that area perhaps, but sales and marketing, same thing. You do a lot of negotiating. And I think, growing up, you hear, your mom and your dad saying these things to you all the time. And of course, as you get older, you're like, you're nagging me. But who knew all along they were really flexing their negotiating skills? And let me tell you something, you're not there yet, but when your kids start to talk back, you become an expert negotiator, whether it's deflection, whether it's coming up with you going back and forth with this little kid who just can't say a ton, but they can say enough until you come to a solve. So that is probably the one skill pre-parenthood that has taken me all the way through.
It's a really, really good skill. We're in a phase right now where she'll reach for, like, we have a TV on a stand in our den, and she'll reach for the TV and it's no. And she knows how to go. She doesn't care. It's no. Why don't you try this? But there's no negotiation yet. You're right. So I look forward to flexing that muscle.
You'll get there.
So you're doing something really cool. And like, you and I know each other a long time, and we were chatting a little bit, I think probably last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. The business you started literally blew my mind, because it was, and I know you're like, oh, that's so nice. It's true though. Like, it's something that when Katie and I were first like getting into baby world, we're like, oh my God, why can't someone just do this for us? So like, one of the things, and I know there's many services that you offer, but one of the things that you said to me is like, baby registries. Like, nobody knows what the hell they need, especially with a first baby. And then, oh, by the way, a second baby is totally different. So tell me about this, because I know you come from a long line of like baby industry experience that has led you to here. So talk to me about some of the services, talk to me about the vision for it, and what it is.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for saying that and for your reaction. I mean, when we did talk a couple weeks ago, I was like, wow, Jess is, really engaged. And collectively, that is...
to ever say that about me, by the way. Jess is really engaged. I'm usually like, texting on my phone and like playing with my hair, but...
For you. And I think it's... the reaction I've gotten has been very much like that. It's been very positive. And listen, I'm not reinventing the wheel here and coming up with something that hasn't been done. But for me, being in the industry for as long as I have, and being able to just see behind the scenes stuff, not even just be, seeing day to day, but seeing behind the scenes and seeing what parents are looking for and what companies, what areas they struggle in and things of that nature. I really just saw a void in the market from a personalized perspective. And even going a step further than that, registries. So registering for a baby, like you said, is a huge first step for parents. They are, they find out they're pregnant, or they're adopting, or, they're having a surrogate carry, whatever it may be. When you are preparing for a bundle in your home, there is so much that comes along with that. And you have your direct support system. You have your parents, some of us do, our siblings or our friends or whatever it may be. And, naturally they're going to have biases. They're going to want you to do exactly what they did. But at the end of the day, everybody is so different. And so is baby gear. There are so many options out there. And so what Stork Support does is we put the personalization in that registry experience for parents. So our main focus is actually that. It's helping parents to understand, based on their lifestyle, exactly what they need. You're not going to need the same thing that your friend Becky is going to need. Does Becky even live in the same type of area as you? Does, there's just so many different parts to it. And so we help parents walk through that, and we have different levels of services. So one is easy, where there's parents that are incredibly engaged in the registry experience, and they want to do it themselves. But at the end, they're like, I wish someone could just look this over really quick. And so we offer a package just like that, where experts can just take a peek, make sure you've crossed your T's, dotted your I's, you have everything in the category, boom, done. The second's a little bit more in depth. We kind of set up the framework for a registry with about the 8 to 10 categories that there are, and we help you put all the big items in them. And then we set you up for you to do all the fill-in work that you want and all the little things that you might need. And then the third one is actually a start to finish registry build. So it's for the mom that's like, I just can't do this, and yeah, there's a lot of you like that. And it's not a bad thing. What we want to do is support. So we don't want to tell you what to do. We want to tell you why you should do it. So our storks and the experts on the team are able to go through comprehensive comparisons on products, and you take a little quiz, and we're able to really understand what your needs are based on your life, and it works out really well. And then you're left with this registry of stuff that you will actually use.
I think a lot of parents start off, so like, Katie and I were like, we're educated, we got this, right? And you end up going into, whatever, Buy My Baby, wherever you're going, you're standing in the store and you're like, oh, wait a second. I got maybe some of this, but why are there 15 of the same product? What does it do? How does it affect us? Yep. So having, and you call yourself storks, which is so cute. Having like a stork to help you out is incredible. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And right now, in the middle of a pandemic, when there are pregnant people all over the country, they can't walk in. They can, yes, Buy My Baby, and there's a lot of stores like that are opened, but they're nervous and they're cautious, and that's okay. And so for us to be able to bring that experience to them virtually is also really important, and where, we're able to capture some different people that perhaps we wouldn't have captured before.
Yeah. And then you told me about, like part 2 or another service where, we had so much crap. Right? There's so much crap. You have this seat.
Crap is a great way to put it. Yep.
And I told you, all Lily wanted to sit in was the bassinet from her Pack and Play. That was it. That's all she wanted. And now all she wants is to like play with this bracelet and play with my hair. Like, most of the stuff is crap. So you now have a service, and you'll explain it better than I will. But the way that I understood it is basically like, hey, that product you have, here's really what it's like used for, and here's how you set it up, and here's where it could fit into your life, like post buying it.
Yep, you nailed it, Jess. Exactly. So we have another service called the Stork Manual, and it does exactly that. So you have all these baby investments at home now, right? You've spent a small fortune, or friends and family have spent a small fortune for you. You think you've got it all down pat. And again, if you used us from the beginning, you will be very educated. But if you didn't, now you're home and you're like, What is a Mamaru? How do I put it together? How does it work? Does it have anything on it that I need? A stroller. How the heck do I fold this? A high chair. You get to a point, baby usually doesn't use that until about 4 to 6 months. And now you've got it and you're like, how do I put this together? What does this even do? And so we're able to, again, virtually bring you that experience and walk you through all the specifics and the usage of that product. So you're using it to its full potential. And we also are able to add tips and tricks in there because we're in the weeds, if you will, old restaurant talk, but we are with all of these retailers and, other neighboring companies that we are able to see the products firsthand. So we get the really good information on it. It's not just the stuff that you see potentially like out there on a website. So, and we're touching and feeling it. So
it's so cool. And where can people find you?
So just thestorksupport.com. You can head over. We're just about a little over a month in. We have lots of growing to do, and we have, a really robust calendar that we're getting together from a social perspective. And we're growing really organically and very slowly. And that's always been the goal of mine. I want to be able to make a difference in parents' lives. I'm not really looking to just blow up overnight. It's work. Any company.
Well, it's reality. If you want something to be sustainable, it takes time. And you're putting in the time and you have such a great idea.
Thank you.
In addition to having a great idea, you have a very long history in the baby industry. So you know all kinds of stuff that I certainly don't. So I told you, I'm going to play a little game with you and I wouldn't tell you what it is. And you were like, oh no, if it's product related, I don't want to do it. I have 2 very simple questions. Okay, ready? First question. So I don't have a name of this game, by the way. I usually name my games, but
it's okay.
I didn't. Something blah, 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 baby game. Okay?
Perfect.
What is the single best baby product on the market right now and why?
The single best baby product on the market right now and why? Oh, girl, that is a loaded question.
Wait for the next one.
I would say right now I'm going to focus on the newborn stage, and it's kind of like a 2 answer question because it'll hit 2 different types of people. So right now, one of the products that is really causing a lot of comfort from a parent's mental stability as they have this new baby in their home and you're constantly checking in and trying to figure out what's going on is the Owlette Monitor. So that is something that you put on baby's foot and you're able to track and monitor do you have it right there?
Is it too? Yeah, look, I'll show you. There she is.
Yep. So, and that helps to, again, make parents, I say breathe a little deeper. You're going to always find something that you're nervous about, but it just helps them know that that baby's doing okay if you're not holding them or they're in their bassinet or their crib or whatever it is. So it's a pretty awesome device. And then the other part to it is where baby sleeps with you in the room. So one piece of baby gear that has been around for a little bit now, but it's starting to really catch some more momentum, is the Snoo. So it is a very high-end bassinet, and I don't necessarily recommend putting it on your registry or purchasing it because it is extremely expensive. However, they have this awesome rental program, so you can actually rent them, and you can kind of test it out and see if it works for you and your lifestyle. But it was created by doctors and pediatricians, and you put the baby in it and it swaddles them. And it also helps them get into a sleep rhythm. So baby can be right next to you, right next to your bedside. So they're in the same room as you, but they're kind of being trained a little bit, if you will, in healthy sleep cycles, and it just helps them. So that is another product that is very hot right now. Again, not for everybody, and there's lots of different options to that I think work just as well. It wasn't around when my children were super young, so I have lots of alternatives, but as your question was positioned, what is the best right now? That is definitely something that is piquing a lot of interest.
It's very cool. The Owlette is amazing. Like for all the moms out there, it definitely, like Katie and I have said, it has allowed us to sleep for the last 10 months. That being said, it disconnects from my fucking Wi-Fi all the time. And it plays Hush Little Baby at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, she's dead. And she's not dead. It's just my Wi-Fi. So I just, we click disconnect a lot, but the camera is like slamming. Like there's no better camera. You can really see her, and it monitors heart rate and oxygen level.
Yep, exactly.
Very, very cool product. Great answer. Get ready.
Oh boy.
Is the worst product currently on the market, and why?
So I would say, I hate to bring negativity to anything, right? You know me.
You're on the wrong show, Gina.
Oh, girl, I know. Don't worry, but I will. I think the worst product on the market right now is actually just play yards in general. There's one out there that has just surpassed everything in terms of innovation, and I probably, as I preach that we are unbiased, and we are, there is one product that I just will not fold for parents, because I believe in it that much. And I see people struggle so much with play yards and trying to put them together. And do you need to put it up quickly in another room because you're somewhere with the baby and you're holding a screaming baby, and it takes 4 people and 5 hours to put together, and they're just disasters. So there is one out there by 4 Moms called The Breeze, which is patented in technology, and literally you just open it up and push the middle button and you do it one-handed, and it is game changing. So seeing all of the others that just cause parents added stress that they do not need, I would definitely collectively put that in a I guess I'll just say it, in a bad bucket, right?
A bad bucket.
Trying to think of a nice.
How dare you be so negative to say the word bad and bucket on my show? They are a pain in the ass, though. Like, and it's interesting because you use them. We use them more now, right? We didn't really use it when she was younger. She wouldn't sleep in it. She didn't like it, but now it's sort of like a novelty, right? And for a novelty, for a baby, you have to be able to get it up quickly.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-person job.
Yeah, it is. Do you have one that requires both of you to put together?
It requires one of us to have the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to click up and it has to push down, and we have it down to like a science at this point. But I wouldn't be like, ooh, this super great pack and play. How easy.
Correct.
Right? It's not easy. It functions once it's where it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And every parent wants a pack and play on their registry. That is probably the number one most registered for products. And there's lots of brands that have this product, and they have other products that are great. It's just, unfortunately, they just can't nail it with the pack and play.
One company did. One company nailed it. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm going to shift gears a little bit because, like I said, my wife and I spend our days scrolling through Instagram, and I'd be like, can you believe how beautiful GinaRose and her family are? Talk to me about your Instagram life, because I don't live an Instagram life, and I'm always very curious about how manageable it is. And by the way, I'm making fun of you, but it's just true. Like, your babies are beautiful. They're so sweet. No, of course. You guys are just, and I'm not like you guys are perfect. Nothing's perfect, right? But you have this really beautiful, amazing family. You guys it reads in everything you do. You're obviously very connected to one another. You have great relationships with one another. I just want to hear about your family. Those little kids are adorable. They should both be modeling, in my humble opinion. But talk to me about them, because I know Wyatt was supposed to be in kindergarten, right? He is in kindergarten, but he's remote, and Ophelia's, brassy and sassy, and to me,
yeah, she is. She'll be leading your show one day, so the two of you will be perfect in a room together. I love it.
Her and Lily can take over my show. They're both animals, so. Yeah, tell me about your babies.
You're so cute to say that. I am by no means any type of crazy Instagram person. I like to stay connected with friends that I don't see all the time, family, and I just like to post things that are real. So obviously what's real right now is my family. I'm constantly with them, and I love that you said that you feel through the photos that we're connected. And I think the times that those pictures are taken, that is very true, but it's not all day, every day. I mean, Tim and I have been together coming up, we'll be married 10 years in April of 21, and together 16 years. So it's a lot of work. He's my best friend at the end of the day, but it's not perfect all day, every day. And the same's with our kids. Listen, we are so blessed to have two healthy, beautiful children. Our journey was not easy. And I think that on the days when parenting is just overwhelming and you get frustrated and you lose your cool, and everybody does. I don't care how zen you are. There is no way that you go a day without getting that and I think that we all ground each other. So one of the kids will do something super funny to break whatever issue was happening before that. Same thing with Tim and I. We can't stay mad at each other super long. One of us ends up bursting out in laughter and then just killing the whole argument. And then we'll talk about it and we'll move forward. So that's kind of how we roll as a family. Again, we count our blessings all of the time. We know the struggles that are out there that people are facing. And we try to communicate and showcase things that are real. I talk about our parenting journey a lot.
You do. Yeah. And it's very honest. It's never, the pictures are beautiful and your family is beautiful. You are always very, very candid about your family and about your journey and about you and Tim. And, I know my friend and I in college were like, Gina, come to our side, babe. We all knew you'd married him from the second you met the guy.
Was it that obvious?
It was that obvious. Yeah, it was that obvious. And it's awesome. 16 years later, I feel old as dirt, but I am really, really I'm so excited for you and where you are and what you're doing. And I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of everything you're doing. I think it's awesome.
I thought the show was supposed to be no filter and
my filter. There's my no filter. I don't know. Make a fucking joke, Gina.
I can't. I'm not a comedian. I don't have jokes. You are the one that's supposed to be doing that.
No, I'm funny as hell. Let's start wrapping up. And by the way, you were all worried that you were gonna ramble on and on and on. You did not. You spoke beautifully. You were adorable. You had funny stories to tell, and you did a good job. And we'll see how people respond, right? I don't know.
Right? Exactly. They're gonna be like,
"Oh, what do you think?" Like that bitch. Yikes.
Unfollow. Yeah.
Please. Last and final question. What is something that you wish you knew before becoming a mom that you know now?
I really love this question. So actually earlier.
Thank you. Someone very brilliant wrote it.
Oh,
it was me.
You asked earlier in the show, what is something, crappy or, backhanded that a mom once said to you? And I gave you kind of the backhanded one, right? And the answer to this question sort of filters into the crappy, shitty one. And that is, I remember I was pregnant with Wyatt after suffering a miscarriage before him. So just carrying him in all my glory. And I was so happy. And I was out in public at a restaurant. And you know me since college. I've always enjoyed fashion and beauty. And it's just been a part of my life.
Yes.
It's who I am. I grew up like that. And so I was dressed and I was 8 months pregnant, and someone came up to me and they were like, "Oh, you look so sweet." And I said, "Oh, thank you." And they were like, once you become a mom, you really lose your identity. So enjoy it while it lasts. And I'm like, again, the shit people say, right? So
I'll say,
I remember leaving that day and I was like, and I kind of put it in the back of the head and just moved on. And then I became a mom. And that comment has always stuck with me. And I preach it to people a lot, that You do not lose yourself when you become a mom. You have to take the time for mental health. You have to address anxiety when it happens, and you need to find a partner who's going to support you. And I remember those early stages, like the first couple of months of being, up to your elbows, literally, in poop and pee and milk and all the stuff that it takes to make a newborn thrive.
Yeah.
And moments where my partner realized it and was like, I booked you a massage, like get out of here for an hour and a half. And there are moms, I'm sure, out there that are scared to do it. And so their scared reaction and tactic is to bring other moms down, right? And be like, I can't believe you're doing that. You can't, how are you leaving? You have to make time for yourself. If you're not a good parent, if you're not mentally stable, you cannot be a good parent. And so that is something that I wish that I understood more going into it, because I just don't think that people really get that until they're in the throes. But if we can kind of help communicate that message more and more, and just lift other moms up, telling them like, you're going to be just fine, and you're beautiful, and you're great. And, I think that would just make everything better.
Well, and you know what? And it's so true, right? So, Katie and I are both performers, as you know, and like we had said going into this, like, we're not stopping. We had so many people say to us, like, you'll see. You'll see. I was on stage the week after she was born.
See?
And we had a lot of discussions about it. And we said, oh God, I don't know. I don't want to leave her. I closed a show on March 14th.
That's amazing.
What timing, the day before, the world shut down. But you're right. That is such an excellent thing for people to be mindful about going into parenthood. You do not lose your identity. Your identity expands.
It does.
It's just another
version. But you're still there, and you're still
totally
in there.
Still there. It doesn't change. Some people do, and it's interesting because some people do lose themselves though. And some people, like I know a couple people who were like super fun and super funny and like love to have a good time before becoming a parent.
Yep.
And you talk to them now and they like have this self-imposed reservation about them. I don't know. I don't know if I just don't have it. Like you don't have it either. Like you're just Gina. Like I'm just Jess. Like I don't identify solely as a mom. It's part of who I am.
Correct.
Some people really do lose that. So that's awesome. Thank you. That was like a really well thought out, well said little ditty. All right, my friend, you nailed it. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And everybody, please, please, please check out the Stork Support. It's incredible. If you get to deal with someone like Gina, not a bad gig, right? Chick knows what she's talking about, I promise. And I will be texting you and be like, fix my fucking Owlette Wi-Fi.
Do it.
You'll do it. Thank you. I appreciate it. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning into Shit Moms Won't Say. Please follow us on Facebook at Moms Won't Say. They will not let me curse. Facebook. And you can, I know, please, shaking every position of my head possible. Also follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and on SoundCloud at Shit Moms Won't Say. Again, my friend, thank you so much for being here and have a great night.